is a different position 5, you know, then you can say, okay, Shadowway, you're gonna be position 5 if that's what you normally played, and our position 5 can be the 4, and we'll play like that. But I don't want to see always on a fly on position 4 as well. That's a problem too, right?
Yeah.
Well, why not, Lizard?
Well, come on.
Because he's played 5 position for pretty much his entirety of his career.
And he likes
That's
to
why,
die
right?
quite a lot, which isn't something that you want from your position 4. But there are some heroes that even when he plays 5, he gets a lot on, like Phoenix when they play it, but it's been banned out by Cyber Legacy.
For sure.
What about this Void hero, though? I mean, if this hero, one of the most popular carries of the tournament, sure, but there's got to be some problem with picking up in the first one, too, right?
Yeah, a lot of these saves, I think also just these lane matchups that can be really annoying. I think they're setting it up for him to have the success, right? Beastmaster's getting banned out. They're banning out that save of the Venge that can be annoying. Oracle is annoying in a way, but at the same time, too, the cast range early on, not the greatest, and it's a long cooldown on False Promise. It's actually like, what, 40 seconds below Chrono. It's 115, Chrono's 160. So you can kind of play around them a little bit there, too.
And you can see a lot of times Void just jumping on top of Oracle, not even using Chrono, killing him off, or forcing him to use that False Promise falsely, and then you Chrono someone. That's a good target.
I've actually noticed Time Dilation doing more and more work in a lot of these games versus these type of heroes where their spells are going to be constantly being spammed out in team fights, right? Fortune's End, you're going to usually use it very quick. Purifying Flames, Fate's Edict, same thing for Bat Rider spells. I've actually just been seeing Time Dilation like breaking games. I just watch these like supports and stuff running around like, shit, everything's on cooldown.
In the lane versus Batrider as well.
Yeah.
Like Time Dilation is one of those things. Yeah, Batrider can win that lane, but it's not easy to play versus Time Dilation at all. They banned out the LC and the Grimstroke on the side of FlyToMoon. And Cyber Legacy, they banned out the Anti-Mage. They just played Void, and it went well for them. They finished the draft off with a Bristleback in the end, but that's only because it was really necessary for their game. It's not something that I think they planned or they do very often.
Their most drafted hero this month, 75% win rate. So
Bristle?
Really? No. Void.
Void? Oh, okay, yeah. They go with the Lich.
Okay.
That's your combo with the Void in Chronosphere, obviously. It's a bit of extra damage. It's also pretty good with the shield that you can jump on top of targets.
Yeah.
And FlyToMoon, they go with this Clockwork, and now you're thinking, if they have Bat, like 90% of the time, not 90, if they have Bat, it's general on this team. But he's also an insane Clockwork. However, very often they put that well, before they did it, they put it on Roger. And then he just plays his position 4 Clockwork. But we'll see what this stand-in will do and if he'll be able to play the same.
This is an interesting Lich pick. Because they pick it into all magic damage and a Dispel. But I guess it's just to be really for like the mid-game kind of thing for the Chronos. And also, I guess, it can help prevent Void from being chased down, right? Like the Bat Rider Sticky's chasing and you have the shield pulsing, I guess. It's just interesting to see them actually go for that hero instead of something else. It's not a hero that we see too often.
This is a hero that we also don't see too often. It's a PL. And it's a FlyToMoon signature hero. They used to, even when they're Windstrike and the first iteration of FlyToMoon back in the day with Silent and Iceberg, Silent always on the PL, Iceberg his TA or something that creates some space, something different that creates space for Silent now Etune to come online. The thing is though, I think Void is much better versus PL than he used to be. Just because of that Aghanims build-up, if nothing else. That Axe can be pretty scary for a PL. All your illusions are just gone and the cooldown, at least until level 25, are kind of similar. So
there was a small period of time where people were drafting Void in this PL, and they would go Aghanim Scepter or Maelstrom or something, right? They would get it really early. All right, so what is the space-creating hero here for Iceberg? Because you said normally it's like a TA or something. You see the matchup against Storm Spirit.
Yeah, you're playing versus Storm and the Void. What do you go for here?
I want more team fight, but it's only Kunkka that stands out for me, and it's not like that fantastic or anything here. Because right now, I think they have 0 team fight on FlyToMoon. I don't think like this looks a little weird to me right now. They have to just kind of go for this pick-off game, but I'm also not liking their damage too much. The Bat Rider provides it, but
they have 2 pick-off heroes already. You have the Bat and the Clock. I think you just need to get damage. Like, where is your damage? Like, look at this team. They have nothing. Oh, that's it.
That's a change-up. All right. I've been wanting to see this hero, actually, a couple times in mid. I know Limp was a big fan of playing it in mid for some time, and then it even got buffed a lot. So
They played it.
They played it as well.
They played it quite a lot before. If I would ever see the silencer, I would see it from FlyToMoon, from Iceberg. They used to pick it versus Ember Spirit, and now Storm Spirit as well.
I love it
these
versus
heroes
Void.
are combo heroes.
Yeah, and
Void
it's
as well.
so good with Clockwork and Batrider. These heroes that just jump in, start the fight, you pop the global, you find a target. I love this hero versus Void, actually. If you're able to keep that pace up and not let the Void actually, be the one that's initiating, you guys are the ones always initiating.
It's such a difficult strategy to just make work, because you have now not only the PL, you have the Silencer. Silencer isn't a hero that only benefits from levels. He needs space, he needs the right amount of farm to be relevant in fights, and even if he gets it, eventually one of these heroes will jump him and blow him up. You have Tiny, you have Void, you have Storm Spirit.
Yeah,
it
And
can
still
get
another
hairy
hero in the pool,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Cyber Legacy still have their offlaner, presumably.
It's very high risk. I think something like a Centaur can even look pretty damn good getting on top of these heroes, but we've been seeing that hero kind of fall out of favor.
It wouldn't be that bad versus PL as well.
It's great in the lane.
If you look at the 3 last bans of FlyToMoon, it's literally protecting this PL. The LC, the Underlord, the Tide Hunter. They're banning out all these good AoE heroes versus the illusion-based PL.
Yeah, I just see like the lane is pretty good versus PL, and then versus Silencer, it's you pop Stampede, and this hero is just screwed. Because it's really hard to predict when a Stampede's going to come. You're never really global for that one. You global for the other heroes, but...
Did anyone in this... Oh, Pango. Okay, yeah.
Better versus PL throughout the majority. Good counter
Still
initiate.
suffers the silencer quite a bit.
Still
but
does.
Yeah, you just have to itemize versus that Silencer, and you mustn't lose mid lane super hard as Storm. That can definitely happen. Keep in mind that Silencer has been changed, right? Like, you get that in from Glaives, from just hitting targets, so it's different. It's the old OD, more or less.
Yeah.
And you can kind of be caught off guard by that, because you just don't play versus Silencer a lot.
They look kind of fragile. Like their front line on Cyber Legacy, there is none. Right? Like, who's going to be the front line? The Pango in some situations? It's a bit hard for him to really just act as that one versus Batrider in these
mostly
initiations.
So it
the
sounded
Void,
like you
right?
guys are disagreeing with the odds then. Like, you're saying this strategy from FlyToMoon is risky.
It's very risky.
And it feels like Cyber Legacy, they're going with, obviously, some comfort here, Tiny Void.
It's so hard for me to call it, not only because of the stand-in, but because of the itemization possibilities on Cyber Legacy that Aghanims on Void, Storm Spirit eventually getting on top of the Silencer or PL is pretty solid for them, I think.
Pango can go Greaves,
Yeah,
right, to deal with
like,
global.
you just itemize versus the Silencers global, and if you get on top of these, like if you look at the 2 cores of FlyToMoon, yeah, PL eventually becomes a beast, but there's that Aghanims on Void.
Yeah. So if Silencer's all important for FlyToMoon, what about Cyber Legacy in that side? Like, who needs to go off to make sure the Silencer doesn't actually get the farm he needs?
I think they just need to kind of contain themselves. I don't think they have to like really rush so much. I think just watch out for these pickoffs as long as they're kind of backing each other up. They have such better team fight. I'm not liking the Radiant side's like team fight almost at all here.
FlyToMoons.
FlyToMoons, yeah. They are really reliant on this global always being there, always being able to get the last one starting the fights, where I feel like Chrono and everything, it's just much easier to do.
And we were hoping for some burst damage as their last pick, because they were lacking that, and we got the Silencer.
Yeah.
Like, he is strong, but he needs to be there. He needs to be hitting you for quite a while
All
before he
right,
starts
it is
hitting.
a risky setup here. We're going to see if Cyber Legacy can keep their hopes alive and being that divine team to make it all the way through to the grand finals. We'll see. We'll head to our casters.
FlyToMoon. Cyber Legacy. To the battlefield.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, FlyToMoon versus Cyber Legacy with myself, OD Pixel, and BSJ. Brian, we're just seeing the drafts, and very excited to see this one. We're getting what feels like some very different picks here from FlyToMoon, especially that last one finishing their draft with the Silencer coming into play.
Yeah, I'm fearful of basically what Fox said. The burst damage coming out from Radiant is lackluster, and the whole idea of the Silencer Global is to kill people during it, right? I do like the fact that they have the good disruption for the Faceless Void Chrono. Like, they Chrono, and then the follow-up's going to be interrupted by the Silencer Global.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at team fights this game, I'm really going to be looking for, are they able to use it effectively as a counter initiation, thus the damage over time and kind of wear and tear that the Radiant lineup has may be able to triumph in the end.
And in terms of some of the other picks from FlyToMoon, the Phantom Lance, a carry that I feel that we just don't really see used a lot. Normally, if people are going to go down the route of illusion-based carries, we see things like the Terrorblade and in some of the recent series as well, also like the Naga Siren. PL sort of been ignored for the most part. Why is that? And what do you think FlyToMoon sees about this game that's made them want to bring this carry back into the meta?
I honestly think his numbers are just too weak. If you compare him to most lane matchups, he used to win. He doesn't do too hot in anymore. They had to ban to protect it, which works out. I don't love it against the Storm Spirit personally because he's really good at chasing you after you've doppelgangered. You don't really threaten him all that well. But they did attempt to address that with the Silencer. This is definitely a wild card with me. We talked about the global a lot, but we're talking about like the consistent movements throughout the map for the PL to be farming because he survives Chrono. That's the big deal if you compare PL to like a Terrorblade, is it's really hard to find the real PL in the middle of the Chrono, and once he gets 2 or 3 items up, he naturally builds tanky items that allow him to survive the Chrono.
I mean, to the point where could we see that magical build of the Void go for the Ags Battle Fury? Do you still do that against a PL?
I think you can consider the Ags. The Battle Fury is hard to pull off. I think he's going to have to get an early Manta. I think he has to get an early Manta because he's against the Silencer. That's really the main way he dies. So I have to imagine his build's going to be something like Midas, Manta, and then if you want to consider the Maelstrom Ags at that point, I think it's too late to go Battle Fury. Even if he has a really good start, I don't think he'll want to go the Battle Fury. But if he thinks he can get away with it, there's obviously a reason to do it. So, interestingly enough, they placed the ward before they placed the sentry. Thus, they know the opponent saw the ward, so then they have chosen to deny their own ward to give no bounty to the Radiant side. I wonder if they saw that. I don't think the Oracle actually saw them dewarding their own wards. They might attempt to sentry that later, which will be a waste. Pegalier, though, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, it could work definitely in terms of the big brain catching them out, taking that away and stuff. But no, because this bottom lane, Pangos, you're about to touch on that. This was Cyber Legacy's last pick. This was their response to FlyToMoon.
Yeah, I was a bit concerned for the early laning stage. I think Silencer was picked as a way to shut down Storm, similar to Lina, just a higher ranged hero in the laning stage that will out-harass you. And Pangolier, I'm not sure about how this is a matchup against PL anymore, because when Pangolier, in my opinion, was considered a PL counter, he was going like Maelstrom and Diffusal, all these super annoying proc items that kill all of your illusions and burn your mana. But now he kind of goes for the team fight, Greaves, and items like this that PL doesn't get threatened by anymore. So definitely going to be paying attention to if he has to go damage this game.
Yeah, well, worth noting as well, just in case anyone's joining after the draft, and I've just noticed here as well, they were talking about standing because by the looks of it, General isn't playing. Roger. Roger's not playing the position 4 for FlyToMoon, and they've got Shadowwear instead. Stepping in this game, he's going to be on the clockwork. All right, let's look at some of these matchups. So mid lane, Iceberg on this all very exciting mid silencer against the Storm. Top lane, we'll just see if anything happens upon this. Now, Kumar's got the time warp, will be able to jump away. But this mid matchup, I mean, how does it go? As sort of the silencer, are you able to harass the Storm enough that Magical suffers on the early levels?
Yeah, I think it takes a couple points in Glaives, and I like the way Magical's playing this. For anyone watching a matchup where they're like, I just have a tough time dealing with these Orb heroes that don't draw creep aggro. He just walked up to the wave and remnanted a couple times, and now the Silencer has a double wave underneath his own tower in which Magical isn't able to be harassed because Iceberg is so busy killing creeps, and if he tries to hit the Storm, he's going to tank damage from the creeps. So it's a really cool way to counteract these heroes that have the orbs but no wave clear themselves. So I thought it would go Silencer favored, but so far it's about even. I assume it gets worse though for the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, we'll see what happens after a few levels are up for Iceberg in that mid lane. Down bottom. With PL, you know, we're seeing a lot of carries nowadays go for the Midas because of its effectiveness. As a Phantom Lancer, do you also consider that, or is this a hero that you can't afford to go for the Midas?
It seems so nice, right? Because he duplicates off his illusions. Them attacking faster means more duplication, but I don't know. Like, the hero needs. He does so much with 1 or 2 small items, Yasha or Diffusal, that I think it's hard to argue ever going Midas, as Kuman does go down, even utilizing the time dilation level 2.
Yeah, General able to get those 7 stacks on him, as Kuman, you can see there, was tempted to try and turn and take down General, but no, early game, that amount of stacks, you're not going to be able to outdo the bat-in right clicks.
Yeah, usually you're able to time dilate him such that he cannot continue stacking because the sticky napalm goes on cooldown, but I don't know if level 1 is not quite long enough, but the Tiny rotating mid, this was my concern of Silencer, is that he's super squishy and vulnerable to ganks, but Tiny decides to toss a creep instead. I'm sure that was not purposeful.
Yeah, Iceberg dropping the tip immediately as soon as that toss was off the mark. And now we're seeing the farm down bottom. VTune having no problem at all farming against Blizzy's Pango. 11 and 6. So looks to be free farm for the PL down here. Especially with always want to fly by his side. Top lane Slayer. Try and chase down Shadow with the slow. He's going to have another blast in a second. He does. Slayer will be able to find the clock kill. And again, mid lane, Big Num, he's back for round 2. Didn't work out the first time. He's going to go and look for another attempt on the Silencer mid.
Yeah, there's really just no aggression potential bottom, and Pangolier, you're not going to change how much farm he gets by a drastic margin by being there, thus, why not just camp mid?
Let's see, this time, much easier to get the toss back into the Remnants. Do they have the damage with this point in Vortex? They certainly do. That's going to work out very cleanly each time they can catch him with the toss back like that.
Yeah, there's no recovery plan for this Silencer. He went 0-2-2, no farming, no wave clear, anything like that, and I used to never like picking the position-based int cores against Tiny. I don't really know how you play it. You can't. He's nearest tower that entire time, and he just gets walked at, avalanche tossed. And I'm thinking of Silencer as a core one. Even Huskar, even though he's not int, can die to that kind of gank. As Big Num.
Oh yeah, some nice body blocks here from Big Num. Keeping the Oracle in range of the Storm, and again, continued body blocks from Big Num. Verifies Pock, but Big Num, he's just not letting Always Want to Fly get away. The body blocks are perfect. He's going to even be able to look to run down the courier. He's got the movement speed to do so. He'll be able to kill this courier as well. Some nice moves from the Tiny. Getting that kill for them in the mid, guarding the rune, coming out and setting up that kill onto the Oracle and his courier.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
And the value suicide.
And he got another one. He got the PL's courier as well on the way out. He got 2 couriers out of that play, Big Num. Big moves there from the Tiny. Top lane. They'll be able to get in onto Slayer. Trapped in the cogs. General is getting low, but Kuman cannot really afford to fight back into that under the Firefly.
Surprised they're doing so well top. Batrider's laning stage, not what it used to be, but that early death by Void has really given him the start he needs to snowball a bit in the kills. As General, one of his best heroes. Definitely could take over a game in the mid game to make up for a bit of a rough start for the Silencer.
Down bottom. Bit of a poke onto Blizzy. Swashbuckle's back up though. He'll be able to jump. Whoa, no he won't. Okay. I thought he had Swashbuckle back in time. Apparently not. Well, didn't get the chance to use it. Gets nuked down by the combo of the 2 of them.
Yeah, Oracle is deceiving damage.
Oh, Shadowware. He's just giving himself up on the mid lane. Tried to run under the tower to go for Magical. Tosses off the mark. Can they still go for this? They've got the 6. They're going to be able to chase. Diving in onto Iceberg. Cyber Legacy. They'll take the Silencer too. Terrible sequence of events there for FlyToMoon in the mid lane. Always Want to Fly comes in. He's trying to find Magical. Has he got the reach for the Purifying Flames? He doesn't. Now he's in trouble himself. Big Num turns with the toss into the Avalanche. Always Want to Fly also dying in the mid lane.
And a haste rune for Magical to bottle himself back up.
Oh, he's going to set up. See if they've got enough burst for this. Shadowware. Pops the cogs. Magical. He's taking tower hits, but he's still got mana to jump his way back out. Won't be able to get the kill though. The Storm. He's out of there. He'll live. A lot of action, a lot of focus around the mid, giving some early kills to the Storm. All this does create continued space, though, for the PL down bottom, as VTune does continue to get complete free farm in this safe lane.
I like this double ringer regen build. A lot of carries are going, especially against Pango. The only thing that this hero can do to you when he's losing is to just poke you down with Swash and maybe eventually look to kill you with Rolling Thunder. But because of that double ringer regen, he's always going to be topped off. We're going to have to pay attention for a potential Storm gank with a rune sometime around the 8-minute mark, maybe at the bounties. But otherwise, I think it's going to be smooth sailing for PL because Void's having a tough time top. And even though they're winning a lot in the mid lane, the Pangolier is also behind.
Let's see what we have here. Shadow it. He's found Slayer away from the lane. Very easy for the clock to punish that. Big Num comes in with a combo though. Wrap around onto General. They may have lost Slayer, but they'll hit back and get the core. General goes down on the top lane. A kill for Kumat.
He's actually committing to the hood. He's got the cloak on V2 as well. He knows his only threat's the Storm Spirit, so he really wants to make sure that that kill does not happen. Super farm though. Treads, double ringer regen, and the cloak.
We'll see mid. attempt onto Iceberg. Iceberg actually popping the global silence there, as he did feel heavily threatened by the two of them getting on top of him. We'll send them back for now.
This is not what PL wants to do. He is not a core that wants to be concerned about his other cores. He wants to be playing 100% for himself, at least until Defusal. And being forced to counter-rotate to his mid laner's lane is definitely inconvenient, to say the least.
Let's see, back to the bottom lane he returns. Cyber Legacy. I'll find the regen rune here for Magical, so potential for big plays to be made. They're heading up towards top. General is the core that's most easily punished right now. He's close to his tower though, and Magical is going to have eyes on Shadowware heading over, so they know the two of them's up there. Going to try and start things with a bit of a poke onto the clock, getting in, setting up with the Vortex. I look to Shadowware, and this clock will be left to die. No help going to be offered up for the clockwork as they get away with the move, but Gank won't set up for the kill on General. General is going to be able to keep himself at a safe distance. Also the Oracle heading up Slayers there to join him as well if there was to be any further dives. But Cyber Legacy, they back off, return to their lanes.
Yeah, that's a really nice support move. The opponent team, you're basically a ward underneath your tower for your offlaner, because if you don't do that, they're just going to push your tower. So you're effectively dragging the creeps off or threatening to do so, so they have to go on the support. And then because they used all their resources on the support, the offlaner now feels comfortable to go take the wave, and then he gets XP underneath his tower. So I really like that move. It's hard to recognize that as support when you basically have to put yourself in the face of danger to enable your core, but that's a death that I would be perfectly happy with.
And overall, a close start here. You're coming up to the 10 minutes. CL. Smoke up from the river.
Rushing that
mid.
Good.
I mean, they want to try and punish maybe Iceberg again. He is the squishy core. It's mid silencer, but he has Slayer sat beside him as the Oracle. He's now spot things out. Oracle's going to get going on. Question is, can they turn towards Iceberg as well? They're going to try, but the global silence is out. Storm, silence, rooted, held in position. Do they have enough damage to kill him? They do. They'll be able to nuke down the Storm. Always want to fly, saving himself just in time with the false promise. They turn over towards Slayer, and FlyToMoon with a clutch global into instant TP backup will be able to push Cyber Legacy back away, kill off 3 of them at least. Also Blizzy being chased right back here by the 2 of them. And they got the nuke damage. The curse kicks in. And he dies as well. A big hold there from FlyToMoon around that mid-tier 1. Kuman's able to jump away with the Time Walk. Also has the Chrono if he feels too threatened. In fact, he's going to start punching back. He's just going to drop it. Goes for a free kill onto the clock. Again, though, they're not going to be too fussed about that, FlyToMoon. That's Chrono out of the game, and all they got them was a clock kill. Bottom lane, Magical and Big Nut. Nobody find the zip set up onto General. General, he's got the 1 charge. He's trying to get his way over the trees, but Magical's got the mana to chase. General falls as well, so some real hits back and forth, but overall FlyToMoon coming out top in numbers with that hold around the mid-tier 1.
Yep, just going to highlight the support play, but I always want to fly there in the mid. Same thing as top with the clockwork. He just made himself in the most dangerous place in the mid tower so that he gets initiated on rather than the silencer. Thus, when they went for the silencer, he had time to global and ended up turning the kill on Storm. So really top-tier plays coming out from the supports as they are reading the map movements of Cyber Legacy, and even though they're dying in return, that death on Batrider, not ideal. Really opening up the map for these fragile cores in the early game. Silencer as well as PL at this stage are not exactly what you want to get initiated onto. Did go for the full hood. He's actually pretty tanky effectively with that when he turns his Strain Treads on.
Yeah, makes him much less of an appealing target for Magical to try and set up onto with the help of Big Num's Tiny. It's bottom lane, Cyber Legacy taking the tier 1 in turn. This Magical continues to step closer and closer towards. In fact, he's got it complete. This Brown Boots into Orchid is done. So this is some solid silence setup against these heroes that, of course, at this stage will have very little ways to remove it. Only the Oracle that can look to save.
They do have the global to punish him at any point if he does overextend, and that is up off cooldown, so he does have to be picky.
Hey, that kind of worked. He comes in across the 2 of them, and hey, I mean, it wasn't a missed hook shot on the Storm, it was just a big brain one. Go for a bit of a stun onto Blizzy, scare him off, make sure the Blizzy can't turn, and with the global follow-up, these are the sort of plays they're going to be able to continue to play. And there's the tips coming out. Look at that there. FlyToMoon giving a boost to Shadowware, standing in for them in this series. making sure that he feels nice and at home. As mid lane, Iceberg tossed back into the combo Slayer. He's still alive, finally falls. Because of the time it took for him to die, Slayer and Bignum have had to stick around in a terrible position. As sure, they got the silencer, but they lose both of their lives for it, as FlyToMoon again able to get the cleanup in the mid. And V-Tune, he's going to be very close to having that defusal done over the Hood of Defiance. So some very fast early item timings here from the Phantom Lancer this game.
Yeah, my main concern looking at the net worth is this Pangolier. You have 5 cores that are way ahead of him in terms of... They all have that first small item coming out, right? He's got 2,800 net worth 13 minutes into the game. Going for a bracer, maybe.
I mean, that's not what you want to see your offlane queuing up at 13 minutes. That's really a testament to how slow Blizzy's farm has been this game.
Would you rather see...
Dude, he's doing it.
I see it, yeah.
He's doing it, dude.
The
It's the build.
though, if you have your offlaner and you're in the spot, would you rather see them queuing up a bracer or a Midas?
Honestly, a Midas.
Really? You're like, at least this guy has vision.
Dude, if you're Blizzy and you're down this much, just get the Midas. Or a Javelin. Something that's going to help you a bit. But yeah, so this build from Command, I mean, it is the Phantom Lancer counter, right? This is what makes this hero so strong against the PL. You get the Battle Fury. Obviously, he is queuing up the Manta afterwards, as you said. Without the Manta, the game's kind of unplayable against the Catch, the Global Silence. But if he gets away with the Battle Fury, Manta, and then the Aghanims, the PL, he's going to be in trouble. This Illusion army will get destroyed by one Time Warp.
Oh, absolutely. The only issue is that both him and Storm are vulnerable to everything on the side of FlyToMoon up until the Storm has a Euls, and he has the Manta, right?
Yeah,
so there's going to be this very large window of weakness and vulnerability.
So if you're FlyToMoon and you're seeing this Battle Fury being built up, are you just sort of saying that as soon as you have this defusal on PL, that we got to go? We've got to try and take these fights as much as possible until the Void has a second item done after the Battle Fury.
Yeah, absolutely. And these deaths right now could be potentially bad if Cyber Legacy gets the kills, because it'll blow up that part of the game that FlyToMoon has to capitalize on by slowing it down. So if they avoid this smoke, it's a really good sign for FlyToMoon to basically smoke right back into them with that defusal blade timing. As they do get a deep ward up.
So they've got to be a little careful, because Iceberg, he has finished off a Rod of Atos. So very nice item against the Storm and the Void, and the Pango, in fact. 3 cores that just do not have ways to remove that root right now, and do rely heavily on their mobility.
Great positioning from Always Want to Fly, but I believe they do see him with that ward.
Iceberg, he's going to reveal that. Wards out as they're out of there. Shadowware tries to grab onto one of them, but Slayer's already TP'd out. And here we go. This is sort of the fast early timings of the items that FlyToMoon are now ready to fight around. Atos on Silence, Diffusal Blade on PL. They should be pretty strong right now, and they're going to immediately go for a smoke off the back of it.
Yeah, Tiny's recovering to find his blink. Void just has at maximum a Battle Fury, so he's not survivable. They should be able to, at the very least, sweep the map for this mid tower, corral the rest of Cyber Legacy into a passive position. Slayer might pay the price, though.
They're gonna try and go into the jungle. No, they're just gonna take Slayer. Very easily for V2 right now. It's PL very strong in the game. At this mark, just 16 minutes in. Fortification comes out, but FlyToMoon can stick around, take this tier 1 away. Oh, a lasso on an illusion, I believe. I did hear it.
Yeah, it was a Storm Spirit illusion.
So lasso down at least. So is the tower. FlyToMoon taking the objectives, and Cyber Legacy just still, as we see, just trying to get these items done.
It says a lot about their survivability when you see a Storm and a Void both farming underneath the tier 2 together.
Yeah, they want to make sure that neither of them gets caught out by this movement from FlyToMoon, and if one of them does, at least both of them can, so they can blame each other for the position. There we go around mid. Magical. And it's going to show Iceberg looking for the Atos. Hard to get out on the Storm, though. It's always going to get the chance to zip. And there we go. So Battle Fury done on the Void. So that's the first hurdle. Just needs to get that Manta done before he's in the clear, really, this game, Kuman. So we'll see how fast he's going to be able to farm that against this pressure that FlyToMoon's trying to bring, as FlyToMoon just remain consistently on Cyber Legacy's half of the map.
Did he not take the M-Claw on PL? Oh, it's Blasphemy. It's like the best damage item in the game.
Who's he giving it to?
I think he just put it in base. Maybe he's...
Oh, hook shot. They're in on the two of them. The global silence is going to come out. Have they got the damage to kill the Void, though? Void's going to turn, start punching into Shadow Way. They've killed the Storm. Storm goes down. Iceberg saved by the false promise, just in case they commit onto him. Kuman looking for a chrono. He's going to drop it onto the silencer and the Oracle. Will allow him to finish off the Oracle. Turns now over towards Iceberg. Iceberg, he's got V-Tune by his side though. This Void, he's got to jump back. He's out of mana. The Atos comes out. Kuman's out in place. He's still able to turn and pick up a triple. And in fact, they don't have the damage to kill Kuman off. Kuman's able to get back to safety. V-Tune and Iceberg trying to dive in onto Blizzy. The Frost Shield's there. Another Spirit Lance. But the shield, it's enough. Blizzy's going to... Oh, no, okay, it's not. The curse was upon him. Iceberg found him with that final pop, turning over towards the Slayer Lich as well. V-Tune will find another. So again, FlyToMoon keeping on top of these fights. There's a solid chrono, did allow them to take some back in return, but not killing Iceberg. Iceberg actually pretty tanky. I mean, with his Atos and the Ogre Club, he's got a lot of HP here early on as the silencer.
War of attrition for FlyToMoon. They do not have a lot of burst damage, as you see there, but over time they will wear and tear you down, as this PL is pretty unkillable at the current moment, especially when the Storm dies at the very start. As another Shawl comes out for Silencer, that's a pretty crucial item for him if he decides to hold on to it.
Big Num trying to get the catch onto General, doesn't quite find it now. They're actually a little scared themselves. V-Tune's going to be there with the backup. They're going with the lasso onto the Void, draining his mana. He's going to have the chance to time walk out. No, he pops the one, but the mana instantly drained yet again. Kuman goes down. Now with a hook shot, Shadow West sets up for a second. Slayer's found. FlyToMoon really stepping it up now. And I mean, this is what you're going to expect to see from this lineup. They're doing their best to punish these greedier items on the Storm and the Void. Going for this Battle Fury and the Orchid. They just don't have any ways to save themselves.
Is it time to kick Roger or what? Shadowway's owning.
He's having a great game on the clock. That's exactly what they need, just this hero to initiate. Be there with the catch as well after the initial jumps back to potential safety come out from Cyber Legacy as they try to retreat.
Do you have the tiny blink?
I think he should
they go on?
I think he must do. Yeah, he's got it.
How do they... Like, even the Oracle has 1,250 health.
And Big Num's trying to jump in. But V-Tune and Shadowway, they're both here. Big Num is going to get Frost Shielded. They have the global silence out though, and this makes it pretty much impossible for Cyber Legacy to do anything. The pushback on the cogs, Kuman, he's losing mana, and V-Tune's there with the chase down. He's on top of the Void. Kuman kept to the side, Magical trying to go in onto Shadowway, but the clock's too tanky. They've lost a second, they're going to lose Slay again. Shadowway, he's in with a hook shot onto Magical. Magical zips away with the last bit of mana. The Rouge's chasing him though. They're going to dive in onto the base. They've got the Firefly, they're diving in onto the tier 4s as V-Tune and General are into the base. Triple kill for the PL here as they are overrunning Cyber Legacy massively. And they just know exactly what to do. They have to play like this, make sure that this Void and Storm just don't get the chance to have a game.
Yeah, I think this window of punishment for Cyber Legacy is just too large. I mentioned it when he built the Battle Fury. You're seeing it really coming to fruition here as FlyToMoon's just running all over them. I think Kuman's vision of this game, he thought it was going to go slower, that maybe with the PL they were going to play a bit greedier. Maybe they were going to look to get that Manta before doing all these plays, but their damage output just from skill sets alone on the side of FlyToMoon is ample enough to just let them run over you. They're not afraid of you.
No, V-Tune is playing incredibly active. 608 on the PL, top net worth, and just having this duo, of course, which isn't your standard duo in this patch, the mid silencer and the carry PL. It just allows you to hit so hard at this 21-minute early mark of the game.
And Storm went for this Jewel Scepter, but now he has mana issues. I think he needed a BKB.
And they're going to go in onto Shadowware, but he's tanky. There's the silence. They should have the damage to get him. They do. They'll get the kill, but now the counterplay comes in. They've got the lasso onto the Void. He's getting low. Kuman gets nuked out by the new Purifying Flames. They've lost the faces for it. Good old
Lich
Blizzy does manage to come back around and kill off General. But Slayer, one more hit and he'll go down. Toss back up to the high ground. It's actually put Iceberg in a position where he's able to turn and start punching into Blizzy. V-Tune diving in and to get the curse.
Crap,
it pops so the Pango.
My mind grows stronger.
It does damage based on your difference in int, right?
I believe it does now, yeah, with one of the more recent patches on Silencer. And it's meant that in these sort of games where you get this fast lead as a mid Silencer, it really does hit much harder than you'd expect.
That was like a 450 damage after reductions. That was crazy. Huh.
It certainly seems like they're onto something here with the mid-silencer. FlyToMoon is so far playing it very nicely. Well, we've got 26 stolen in at 22 minutes in. That's a lot of in.
Did he take the 4-inch steal talent on Iceberg?
Surely he did.
You have to.
I feel like you can't have fun on the hero if you don't take the
he
+4 talent.
Yeah, he did.
The +2, yeah. So getting the 4 in now on each of these kills. It's nice. I mean, BKB, Atos in the backup of the Oracle. He's a pretty tricky hero to actually kill.
Yeah, I like his build. I think the BKB was 100% necessary because they're going to be able to get on top of you. They have Storm, they have Void, they have Pango, they have a Blink Tiny. You just have to stand your ground. You can't buy like a Hurricane Pike. They're going to be able to chase you down again. So just stand your ground and hit them back. I really like his vision of the game. As opposed to the Storm, who went basically like 2 Luxury items. That's the problem I see with his build right now. If he can make it to the BKB plus 1 more item, he's good to go, but I have a feeling this game might be out of their hands by the time that happens.
I mean, and that's in terms of the Storm's items. When you look at like the Void is, you know, FlyToMoon, they obviously have this lead right now, 9k up 25 to 16. At what stage, if this game does continue, does it get to the point where you're like, all right, this Void is now going to be an issue for FlyToMoon? How many more items does Kuma need, really, before they start being scared of him?
His timing needs to be before this PL Abyssal, right? Because even with Manta Ags or Manta BKB or anything like that, he still dies to PL with Abyssal. And that's my concern, is I think their timings might be too far behind such that none of their timings are actually timing.
Shadower, he's found the catch. They've got the root. Blizzy, again, just massive amounts of damage coming out from this silencer.
-4. That's going to eventually start hurting. Pangolier has mana issues.
I was going to say, they've got a few heroes actually that have pretty low mana pools, right? But like Tiny and Void, the mana's not great on those heroes either, is it?
Yeah, absolutely not. He has the Battle Fury for mana regen, but until he gets Ags, he does not have any mana items.
Again, Global.
Is he just dead?
Got the root. Is it enough damage?
He's dead.
A few more hits from Iceberg. And look at it go. Look at this. It's working. It really is working. The mid silence. I mean, they whip it out here, FlyToMoon, and this is a very impressive showing so far in game 1. It's top lane. And they're zipping back in on General.
Even as a hood.
Yeah, they can't kill this bat. They've got to get out. Magical's already a little low on mana. They're going to leave the Tiny behind. Magical, is he able to get out? Goes for the TP, but they're in with the blink and the lasso.
+4, +4, +4.
Oh! I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who needs to hit a hook shot? He didn't even need to hit it. He missed it intentionally there with a BM hook shot. As they clean up anyway. Iceberg, his brain just getting bigger and bigger right now.
Yep, 5 heads in chat for Iceberg, please.
This is...
It's bursting.
Oh my goodness, the in. Plus 46 at 25 minutes. He's got 4 staff. He's also going to get a blink as well with the false promise. I mean, that's going to guarantee him to get this escape off each and every time. They give him the Aegis. He's level 19. The silence has taken over.
Ignoring Glaives, he hits for 225 damage.
Yeah.
Ignoring Glaives.
Yeah. Like he already just has a good punch.
That's crazy.
I mean, how we doing on the Manta? I mean, Kuman, he's still what, 1,200 gold away from it. With this Manta, the game is just unplayable for this Void.
Yeah, I think that this is a situation when people ask me, when do you go Midas, when do you go Battle Fury? Midas is just cheaper, right? If you go Midas into Manta, you would already have the Manta, you know, 2,000 gold ago. So it could make that big of a difference in regards to your timings of your vulnerability, your weaknesses. And right now, I really do think this Battle Fury is just too greedy. I know why he went it. We talked about it at the start of the game. It's obviously a decision he had to make. Maybe he thought the PL was too far ahead, that even if he went for less greedy items, he wouldn't be able to keep up. There's a lot of reasoning behind it, but I really do believe it's hindering them a lot in this mid game. They went from about a 2k net worth deficit to 13k in less than 10 minutes.
Oh, Iceberg, he's looking for solo kill opportunities maybe around here. Oh, doesn't quite get Vision of Slayer though.
Going for the blink on Silencer. Will he finish that over the Hurricane Pike? Wouldn't mind it. All you have to do is be in the right position. You do plenty of damage to actually hit people. You also have the BKB.
He can't solo kill this, can he? Oh, can he?
He has Atos.
He actually might be able to. With the Global, and then the Atos, and the chase of the Force, damn, Iceberg. Plus, he got 50 in. 50 in, ladies and gentlemen, 27 minutes.
What's the int multiplier difference on Silencer's E?
Yeah, let's see. Can we check out the Silencer's E?
Third spell.
Yeah. Last word, right?
What's
the math? Deals extra
int
damage
multiplier
based
is 3, and he's sitting on 200 int right now.
200.
So
Okay.
it does 240 plus Void probably has 50 in, so you're sitting at like 700 damage nuke right there.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's insane. Void died like so fast.
Hey, that's a good chrono.
Okay.
But did they have to doubt? He got his BKB off in time, Iceberg. They should be able to find Always Want to Fly, or maybe even not. Always Want to Fly is still alive, finally goes down. V-Tune's getting low. Iceberg goes for the TP out. He'll make it away, but the PL's left behind. So with that buyback, Cyber Legacy are able to hold the fort, come in with a good defense. They won't catch General in time, but they do get V-Tune there. The big old PL finally taken out in this game by Cyber Legacy with that buyback from Kuman.
And he should have time to farm his his Manta now. So that's a pretty big buyback for him, because now he's no longer going to have to play super scared on the map,
Are fortified.
because he will not just die solo to a silencer.
Yeah, so let's do the maths. Void's got like 39, 198. What's 198 minus 39? That's
160 approximately.
169, right?
So it's an extra, yeah, exactly. 140 or 480 damage extra.
Hey, they got General. Now Iceberg's in trouble. He's in trouble. He needs help. Wait, what's happening here? Shadowway comes in. He's going to be back for round 2. Kuman has to be a little careful. Remember, he did buy back for this. And he's going to start immediately backing off.
Okay. Yeah, that's I thought Void had more int than that. He probably normally has about 50, but he's already died 3 or 4 times to the silencer. Mindbreaker, I feel like that should go on the other team, you know. They've messed up a little bit with the RNG of the neutral items here. Definitely should go to the silencer. Enchanted Quiver would also be a really nice silencer item. See what V-Tune gets from these Ancients. Almost certainly going to get an item. 30% chance to drop. Don't fail me now.
Are you ready to rumble?
Okay, he didn't get an item.
No, he didn't. RNG went there for him on the Ancients.
Quickening Charm for Tiny. Very good items coming out for Cyber Legacy. Orb of Destruction.
Oh, that's
PL.
nice.
Go get it, buddy.
Get it.
It's actually super annoying to play PL specifically, because you usually leave your illusions to finish off a camp as a way to be efficient. Then you have to backtrack to go get your items. But that's what supports are for, right, Owen?
Exactly.
Pinged it, told his Clockwork, hey, you, go get it.
That's their job.
Fetch. Don't treat your sports like that,
Radiant are
guys.
scanning.
You can tell them to do that, but, you know, don't say fetch.
So Kuman, after the Battle Fury and the Manta, he's going to go for the Halberd and the MKB. So not actually going for the Ags at all at least early on. I mean, is that just the case? At this stage, Ags is just not. It's not going to do it. Sure, it might be good against the PL and his illusions, but you do need to have the items that are actually going to help you kill some of these single targets.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that damage over time from FlyToMoon so detrimental to him and the rest of his team outside of Colonel. Destruction. It's just, they're going to die if the fight lasts longer than 15 seconds. So he has to kill somebody crucial in the Chrono.
Yeah.
Later he can go Ags after he feels like he has ample enough damage to do that. 8 goes to cancel, +4.
+4. It's adding up.
It grows. Abyssal was done for V-Tune, so he could have canceled that at any point. He just knew he could save the cooldown of that, which is sometimes relevant.
And the mana cost, right? You know,
Especially the mana cost, yeah.
it costs quite a lot, right? Doesn't it?
It's 100, I believe. 75? Okay, close enough. Going for the sheep on Iceberg. Almost has it done.
Yeah, the silencer.
That's even more int. Not only the disable, but also the int. That's the problem with the Void build, right? You're finally strong enough with the Manta to not die to Silencer, and then he just has a sheep stick.
Yeah, you're just going to get
die
anyway.
He's actually going Halberd. So he's elected for the stash resistance defensive build. I mean, don't blame him.
It's going to be, I mean, the disarm's going to be good against the silencer, right? If he can get it off on him. But then he's going to disarm the silencer and then just get hexed anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to flame the item because I don't necessarily know if there's an item that changes anything for him here.
Sure, it's a hard game.
I can understand why he's going it, and we'll just have to see if it makes the difference for him. Gets it off before the silencer BKB. That's really important. But yeah, that Hex also has the Quickening Charm on Silencer. 4 activatable items and a global. So very good cost effectiveness or slot effectiveness of that Quickening Charm.
I think FlyToMoon as well, just feeling the comfort that they can go for what they want. There's still towers to be taken on the bottom lane. A lot of potential gold on the map that they can clean up pretty easily. Cyber Legacy's going to try and hit them with the smoke. They've got their ults, they have the Chrono. Who can they find? V2's on the high ground. Quick jump, they're going to pop the Global, they turn over towards Blizzy. Blizzy's been rooted, they're going to pop the Chronosphere on the Silence on the back. He got the BKB off in time and the False Promise is there as well. Blizzy goes down, Kuman jumps off the side, but the Hex is there. Kuman's in a lot of trouble. He's been abyssal. Kuman needs help, but he needs it now, he's not going to get it. Kuman goes down, they do manage to kill Iceberg, but it looks like V2's going to be on track with the cleanup as he gets himself over onto Big Num, over in the River Shadow in general. They find themselves magical as it's a triple kill for V2. They may have killed the Silencer, but it cost them so much. Kuman especially out of the game for 90. His buyback still on cooldown.
Yeah, we were talking about Midas PL earlier for the attack speed of replicating with his illusions, and he's going for that Moon Shard. I dig it. All you gotta do is kill somebody during that Abyssal. It's the only thing you can really change about his game. Butterflies, meh. Mostly magic damage on the opponent team. Void goes for an MKB eventually. I like this Moon Shard, honestly. I think it's specifically good on illusion heroes.
Slayer, he's in trouble. There's going to be a buyback, and that does actually allow them to go in and kill off the Oracle. The turn over towards V2. Have they got the control with Blizzy's Rolling Thunder? He's trying to find it. Silence comes out, but V2's able to move with the Manta. Goes back in on the Soul Spirit with the Abyssal. The hook's up back in for Shadower. He's trying to get himself right in the midst of it all. Another doppelganger from V2, but V2's falling low. He's in trouble. He's going to go down. They've lost the PL. The clock as well as Magical pulls him in. Shadower's going to fall. As 4 go down, Cyber Legacy with the buybacks able to hold on in the mid lane and push them back before they clean up the racks.
More fuel for
It's a big hold.
Maybe he's going to be regretting that Moonshard build coming out here. Maybe would have liked a Scotty or something like that there for an extra bit of tankiness, but you can see that the Storm incredibly disruptive for the PL. He does not like dealing with all that AoE magic damage, also a target that he can't innately lock down without the Abyssal, and just a bit of an overextension. Didn't even get the lane of racks, as you said. That's a window of opportunity for Cyber Legacy. Is Roche up? Are they doing it? Looks like they are doing it. Pangolier, one of the best roasting heroes in the game. They have no buybacks. They can't even elect to contest this if they want to.
They can't stop it at all unless General wants to try for a play on the back. He's going to scan it. They know it's there. He's not even going to go heading over. He's keeping down bottom. They're not going to contest this at all. This will be a Roche for Cyber Legacy. Down 14k, but off the back of that solid defense, using the buybacks very nicely. They hold the base. They get out. They get themselves Aegis and Cheese ready for the next fight.
Okay, we got ourselves a game. This greedy build coming out from Kuman is going to be paying off the longer this game goes. I think once he gets Ags on top of that Battle Fury, he will be a real threat.
Absolutely. Yeah, late game, it's absolutely going to pay off.
I don't blame him for going for the MKB first if he elects to do so, but damn, yeah, this is the point in the game where PL no longer looks unkillable. Very quickly that turned. And that might be because of this Moonshard that I was praising, but I feel like you have this strongman syndrome where you haven't died in a while, you're kind of just running rampant in fights, and you're like, nobody's really dying to me all that fast, I just want to kill them faster. But then suddenly the enemy team gets 1 or 2 items, they buy back, Storm Ball Lighting's on top of you, and you might be second-guessing yourself there. Does have the Halberd complete when his courier gets to him. Talisman of Evasion was already picked up.
But definite opportunities here now for Cyber Legacy. Still down a fair bit, but if they're able to make that happen, obviously with the 2 buybacks on cooldown, there is that little bit of fear, but Aegis and Cheese sure to give them some sort of safety blanket here to fall back on in the next fight. And I mean, in this situation now, if you are Cyber Legacy and you've been able to hold like that, are you looking to get active with the Aegis and Cheese, or you just want to hold, play it safe, and just allow the Void to keep farming rather than trying to force anything with it?
I don't think you're forcing anything, but I also don't think you want to play safe. I think you want to be more efficient than the opponent, and if the opponent is trying to get as much farm as your team is by separating and playing the map, you have to punish them for that, right? You have pick off, you also have the Chronosphere threat that they won't want to engage upon you. So I would use this Aegis as a way to neutralize the net worth lead that the opponent has, or at least gnaw into it just a little bit. I don't think they're planning to go high ground. I don't think they need to feel a sense of urgency. I do believe the way the Void built, they are geared up to go late.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you certainly feel it even in those fights where they are down a serious amount, still able to punch back. And the Chronosphere late game is always going to be a big issue. I mean, you look at sort of the team fight that is there on FlyToMoon. I mean, what are you relying on most? I guess the global silences, but as the game goes on, there's going to be more and more items to counter that, to remove and dispel it.
It's just who jumps who at this point, because the PL has Abyssal Moon Shard, the Silencer has a ton of int on top of the Sheep Stick, and then on the opposing side, you obviously have the Tiny Burst plus Storm, you have the Chronosphere. It really is all going to come down to this initiation. I think Shadowway plays a huge part in this with his Ag's Clockwork. I think ideally it would be him going first, creating some chaos so General can get the optimal lasso target, and then PL can also pick and choose who he elects to go on with his Phantom Rush plus Abyssal, and the Silencer can sit in the back, because if he gets caught on the Silencer, I think they might have some serious damage issues on the side of FlyToMoon.
Yeah, no, for the most part, it has been Iceberg dishing out the damage in these fights. And then obviously, you know, for FlyToMoon right now, they are playing into the Aegis and Cheese, but do they still have to sort of keep the aggression up? Like, is this a game where if it does end up going on another 20 minutes, FlyToMoon are just going to be in the inferior position?
Yeah, I think playing for objectives as a unit right now is a good way to play it for FlyToMoon, as they're just grouping up as 5, basically saying, hey, we dare you to fight into us when we're all together. That's not necessarily what I think Cyber Legacy wants to do. They're not going to let them push high ground or anything, but it's a weird stalemate because the team that's ahead doesn't have the Aegis. So they're like, if we're going to lose fight, it's definitely going to be when the opponent team has an Aegis. And the team that has the Aegis is like, okay, well, we outfarm them because we have a Battle Fury. So it looks like FlyToMoon wants to break that silence, break that truce, as they smoke up 5-man across the map. Maybe just looking to sweep. You know, they're going to maybe D-ward, they're going to get some aggressive wards up. At the very least, you see the effect of the smoke, which I do like, effectively corralling Cyber Legacy into their base. Illusionist Cape for V2, that's pretty hype, right at the 37-minute mark. Why not, you know?
Oh, that's exactly what he wants.
Ask and you shall receive. Queuing up a Satanic. Very surprised he hasn't considered Scotty. But the ability to sustain fight is really important, as that was an advantage they were capitalizing on earlier, and now that they have enough damage to threaten him, Satanic makes a lot of sense for that. As a reverse smoke from Cyber Legacy, because they would be trapped in their base and they're attempting to free themselves.
Oh, Lizzie. Tying around with the idea of the Rolling Thunder. Kuman jumping in, looking for a target, but they're going to find him straight away with a hook shot into the lasso. Kuman's in trouble. They've got the follow-up Hex. Kuman's going to go down. They can't save him. They've lost the Void. Magical zips away. Void's out without buyback. Slayer's been gotten on top of by Vijun, and Vijun charges across over towards Magical. Magical out of mana. The second hook shot comes into play from Shadowware. As they find the 3 of them, that's the Aegis down on the Storm. Can they do it a second time? Magical, he's back up. The Global Silence comes out. Can they finish
Cutting
him?
the wave.
He's able to zip out. Just in time. Popping that BKB to remove the Global. He's straight down to bottom.
They can cut top. There's no wave. The Storm just has to ball out of base and kill that wave top, because Pangolier already took out the mid wave.
Let's see. Is he looking towards that top lane? Yeah, he's just drawn the line. Just drawn the line. The Storm, he says exactly what you said. Clear out that wave. Or maybe not. He drew the line, but then he's walking bottom.
They're going to let it go.
Where's he going?
I don't know about that. I think that wave is.
Wait, what's even down here? There's nothing down here. Where's he going?
I have no idea.
I guess he wants to go shop. He wants to try and make sure that he's going to have his Bloodstone for the defense, so he's going to pick up the secret shop bits. But top lane, he's lost his Pango. Why is he hitting neutrals?
100% questionable plays coming out here. There's no excuse for that. You kill that top
Where's he
wave,
going?
You ball lightning all the way out of base, and even if you die for it, the enemy team's not going to get a rack.
What's he doing? They've got wards out here. Oh, no, Magical. I mean, that's game over.
Is this why Na'Vi kicked them or what?
What the hell? All right.
That's actually just terrible late game decision making. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it in any way. There was,
and that GG.
There was every reason for him to be top there.
Yeah.
All of the rest of the team was already cutting mid. They were already cutting mid.
As you said, he just had to what? Zip and clear it. Okay. I mean, some games end like that. I mean, either way, FlyToMoon, it definitely was the game there in the controller for the most part. But